Hello, I'm Veronica Dudo. 33-year-old Livia Patelli, the mother of the 6-month-old who died in a hot car last month in East Hanover, is claiming she forgot to drop her off at a daycare that morning. The baby was in the vehicle for nearly 5 hours before being discovered. A man was injured in a boating accident at the Jersey Shore. The 51-year-old was thrown off the boat and gashed by a propeller, suffering injuries to his arm and abdomen. He was airlifted to a hospital and is expected to recover. Rider University in Lawrenceville has cut 31 jobs because of nationwide problems related to processing federal student financial aid forms. School officials say the layoffs will save them more than $2 million. Warren County is now the first county in New Jersey to be certified as a community wildlife habitat by the National Wildlife Federation. It's the 8th location in New Jersey to earn the distinction.
Hello and welcome to the New Jersey Morning Show. I'm Mike Favetta.
And I'm Cara. Falco. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. Congresswoman Mickey Sherrill visited AZI's U.S. headquarters in Nutley, where she participated in a fireside chat and toured the facilities. Our chief political correspondent, Laura Jones, has more. Laura, welcome to the show.
Hey, it's good to see you both.
And Laura, I'm sorry, we're actually going to be talking about, I had the wrong script in front of me. We're talking about Vice President Kamala Harris selecting Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate. And Laura is here to tell us a little bit about that. So I was listening to him speak. I happen to like him very much. I knew nothing about him prior to. Please, Laura, tell us a little bit more about him.
Yeah, a lot of people had not heard much about him. He was not really one of the top contenders in early on. But again, a week can be a lifetime in politics. And when we looked back to 3 weeks ago, Joe Biden was still in this race. So again, we started to hear a lot of reaction. I was actually at AZI where we record, where we got to see Congresswoman Mickey Sherrill, and we talked to her and we asked her what she thought about Kamala Harris's vice presidential pick. Here's what she had to say.
Oh, I'm so excited. We have such an incredible bench that I knew she was going to pick somebody really special, and Walz truly is one of the highest ranking enlisted people to ever serve in the House of Representatives, somebody who's fought for affordability for families. He is going to be such a great asset to Harris as she goes forward. This is a wonderful ticket. I'm so excited.
Meantime, former New Jersey Republican Governor Christy Whitman, she threw her support behind Kamala Harris even before that vice presidential pick. I talked with the former governor and we talked about her endorsement of Kamala Harris and got her opinion also on Tim Walz.
Tim Walz is a very popular governor in his state. He's a veteran. He's been in the National Guard. He's been a school teacher, a football coach. He's a real American. And I think he's going to do well on the ticket.
So, Cara, Mike, I asked the former governor, Christy Whitman, why she wasn't supporting Donald Trump. Christy Whitman, Republican governor, she is now with the Forward Party. Donald Trump, remember, he is somewhat of a local guy. He has his golf course, a home in New Jersey. He has many businesses in New Jersey. And Christy Whitman said the reason that she doesn't like Donald Trump is because of the way he conducted business in Atlantic City when she was the governor. Again, and as I mentioned, Governor Christy Whitman, she's been focused on a more of a centrist politics. She is now involved with the Forward Party. And people are wondering, what is the Forward Party? All right, so it's the Forward Party. They're not about right. They're not about left. They're just about being forward. It's about moving forward. And they support candidates from any party, as long as they sign a pledge to not be a part of those extremist sides, because I think that is a huge turnoff for so many people, watching politics. They're thinking, I don't want to vote for any candidate because the two sides have become so polarizing. So she says that Forward Party, they're all about people who will uphold the Constitution and the law. Meantime, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, many thought that was going to be the candidate. He was among some of the front runners for the vice presidential nominee. Tim Walz called him a good friend. There's even a report that they attended a Springsteen concert together that was circulating on social media. Of course, there's always a Jersey tie to it. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy was quick to jump in, and he said, yes, I can confirm that they were all friends. They all hung out at a Springsteen concert. So, Cara, Mike, there's always a Jersey connection. And you better believe New Jersey politicians, they want to jump in and they want to give their opinion on these things. I talked to some of other Republicans who said they actually didn't like this selection of Tim Walz. They thought it was a little he was a little too progressive. They were saying they were surprised. Meanwhile, Democrats, generally speaking, are saying we love this selection, which that's kind of what you're going to expect.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he does fit, again, not being familiar with everybody, but even just in terms of geography, I think it made sense to have, Vice President Harris being from California. So now we've got one coastal community, because I feel like the country, the two coasts kind of coincide, and the center of the country shares some different beliefs. So to have somebody from Minnesota kind of balances that.
Exactly. And listen, Republicans are going to jump on this and criticize it. They're going to look back to COVID, and they're going to say, well, as governor of Minnesota, you sat during the riots during COVID, and
Right.
you did nothing. So they're gonna certainly stoke those flames. Josh Shapiro, he made a lot of sense as a candidate. He had some problems though, but Pennsylvania is a swing state. Some of the things he said about Israel, Palestine may not have played well in Michigan. So people in the end are saying Governor Tim Walz is a good choice. And again, the reason why Christy Whitman liked him, and this really does matter, is that executive experience. Being a member of the U.S. Senate is very different than being governor. And Christy Whitman has seen both sides. She's worked in the Bush administration. She's worked as a governor. That's a 24/7 executive kind of position. So she was delighted again as a governor, not about being a Republican, not about being a Democrat, but that experience that comes from being a governor and knowing how to run things from that level as opposed to a U.S. senator.
Excellent stuff. Laura Jones, thank you so much, as always, for your insights and your information. We always appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Good to see you both.
You too. So, Cara, in other election news, a judge ruled that Robert Kennedy Jr. will appear on New Jersey's November ballots.
Yeah, election attorney Scott Salmon tried to remove Kennedy after he attempted to challenge Biden for the Democratic nomination. An administrative law judge declared that Kennedy can remain on the ballot as an independent candidate.
The judge stated that Kennedy did not officially seek the Democratic nomination in New Jersey before deciding to run as an independent, so he referenced the New Jersey Sore Loser Act. Surprising that New Jersey has one of those, which prevents candidates from running as independents in the same year that they lost the party nomination. That does not apply to Kennedy's situation.
Lieutenant Governor Tahesha Way will review the judge's decision and make a final ruling. Yeah, very interesting that we have such a law.
Yes. There's been so much going on with politics, but we also had a lot of weather this week. I mean, Cara, you saw the flooding around New Jersey, a ridiculous amount of rainfall. And so, even in so many areas, let's take a look at that weather right now.
Sure.
All right, so we start off this morning with a look of how much rain has fallen over the last several days. You see the broad map here showing all of the areas highlighted there, with the worst and the heaviest of the rainfall, and most of that coming through areas in northern New Jersey with some high rainfall amounts. So we can zoom in there to northern New Jersey with some 6.6 to 6.8 inches, even right along the turnpike, where the turnpike was closed temporarily on Tuesday night with those heavy downpours. 7.1 inches of rain fell there. So there was a heavy dose of wet weather, as these storms that bubbled up just didn't really move over their respective locations, and they just kept pouring all those inches of rain, creating those flash flooding events. Down toward the Capital District in Trenton, you had some high rainfall amounts, anywhere from 5 to 6 inches there, showing up on the radar screen. So it really was a tremendous rain event. And now, with the flooding starting to, those floodwaters beginning to recede, we have more rainfall moving in across New Jersey. And that specifically right now is in the southern half of the state, which eventually takes up and moves across the northern sections today. How much rain has fallen over the last 3 days? Some areas, the gauges measured 3 to 4 inches of rain. You see there toward Long Branch, 3.8 inches, up toward Hackensack, a very dense urban area. hence the flooding, 3.5 inches of rain. So the worst areas that receive the heaviest rain showing up in that red and orange. And then look at Cape May. In the last 30 days, what's the percentage of normal? 179% of normal rainfall just falling in those last few days. So really high amounts. Now, the good news is we dry out considerably after another round of rain tomorrow. So Friday, likely seeing more flooding events, specifically later on at night, as we have the remnants of Debbie moving through. We'll talk more about Debbie coming up and give you all those details in just a few minutes with your next weather update.
All right, Mike. Hey, listen, all I know is it's finally comfortable. We can open the windows and give the AC a break for a minute.
Finally, I know. It feels like it's taken a while, but it's that cooler, refreshing breeze that feels quite nice.
It does.
Even though we get some more rains tomorrow. Coming up, a New Jersey man tries to open a plane door mid-flight.
And stay tuned for a historic road trip through the Garden State. Good morning. Welcome back to the New Jersey Morning Show. I'm Cara Falco along with Mike Favetta. A New Jersey resident caused quite the scene on an American Airlines flight in July after consuming a few too many marijuana edibles.
Eric Nicholas Gapko of Delanco reportedly attempted to have sex with a flight attendant on American Airlines flight 2101 from Seattle to Dallas. He took off his clothes, tried to open the plane door multiple times during the flight. The pilot made an emergency landing in Utah, where Gapko was arrested by authorities.
It was later revealed that he had consumed 10 marijuana edibles. Crew members tried to stop Gapko as he shouted, "I am sane," near the plane's bathroom.
Flight attendants eventually restrained his feet as the pilot diverted to Salt Lake City for landing. Prosecutors revealed that Gapko shattered a glass door and spat on an officer during the arrest. Wow. So that must have been some unsettling few hours while that was occurring for the other passengers.
And that's so terrifying, too, because there's something about being on an airplane. You're in this confined space.
Yeah.
You're not the person in charge because you're not flying it. You're not, the flight attendants. And I give flight attendants so much credit. I mean, the stuff they have to deal with these days is beyond.
True. It is true.
Absolutely. In better news, and speaking of travel though still, TV host Darlene Newman is on a revolutionary road trip, filming at sites related to the American Revolution that combine history and travel across the East Coast. She's joining us now to tell us all about the hidden gems we can find right here in the Garden State. Darlene, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, pleasure's ours. So Darla, tell us about this revolutionary road trip. What inspired it?
Well, New Jersey is known as the Garden State, but it's also known as the crossroads of the American Revolution. George Washington spent so much time in New Jersey, and we're out discovering those sites that mix history and travel. Places like Princeton and Princeton University, Morristown and Morristown National Historical Park. And there are even breweries and restaurants where you can go where you can walk in the footsteps of people like Alexander Hamilton and George Washington. So we're out filming this for my PBS series, Travels with Darlie, which is also on streaming, and discovering great places that you guys can all go and travel to discover this history in New Jersey.
I love, and you know what, having gone to high school in Morristown, I'm somewhat familiar with the history there. What are some of the top sites that combine history and travel here in New Jersey?
Well, you're looking at Morristown National Historical Park right now, but also head over to New Brunswick, East Jersey Old Town Village, and Monmouth Battlefield. These are all sites. We're looking at Perth Amboy right now, all sites where there are lesser known stories related to this time period. I mean, one thing I've discovered as I've traveled around is that people think history, you think of history in the past and that we know everything, but there are new discoveries constantly being made. Morristown, the Schuyler Hamilton House, has this romance with Alexander Hamilton, and there are reenactors and interpreters at these sites, and they share the history and they really, really bring it to life.
So what are locations outside of New Jersey that might be easy for New Jersey residents to explore? Has your show kind of, helped New Jersey residents kind of maybe venture across some state borderlines?
Well, there's some great sites up in Saratoga, New York. I mean, Saratoga Springs is a great place to travel in general, great food, wonderful horses and history. But there's also Saratoga. There's a national park site where a major battle, which was a turning point in the American Revolution, was fought. There are historic inns there and restaurants, and you'll find a lot of history in unexpected places in Saratoga. I mean, there's a gas station and convenience store where there's historical placards, so you just have to take a look and you'll see history around every corner there. I also just went down to Delaware and filmed in Dover and Wilmington, looking at sites where a lot of history took place, a battle site called Cooch's Bridge, and also really fun restaurants. Newcastle is like a mini colonial Williamsburg. And I love stepping back in time. And I think people really appreciate the history much more when you can go to these places and see where the history took place.
Absolutely. That all sounds incredible. And those are all both great road trips and day trips here from Jersey. So you're out now filming Revolutionary Road Trip episodes, but you're also working on a new season of your PBS series that you mentioned and a podcast. So what's coming up? What can we look for from you this winter?
Wow, we're going across the nation and outside of the country too. We're heading to Quebec. We're going to Santa Fe. We are even back in North Dakota in Fargo and beyond, and also back in New Jersey, filming right now in Passaic County, where there's a lot of cool baseball history related to Yogi Berra, and we've got just a lot of revolutionary history there as well. So we're out filming everything from Patterson Great Falls Historical Park, right outside of New York City, all the way back down to Delaware and even Detroit, Michigan, with great Motown history. So we're mixing it up and finding things that you can discover right in your own backyard and further afield as well.
Wow, Darlie, that sounds great. Where can folks watch the show?
It's Travels with Darlie, and it's on New Jersey PBS and PBS stations across the nation, as well as on streaming places like Tubi and Go Traveler.
Excellent stuff. Darlie Newman, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it. Once again, it is Travels with Darlie. And thank you. We look forward to your next season and making the Garden State look great. Thanks again.
We love it.
Yeah, man, what a great concept, really, even for a show. And New Jersey is definitely the spot for that. I mean, we really do have so much revolutionary history. Mike, I don't know if you remember, just in the last year or so, they made a discovery down in South Jersey. They found like the bodies of a handful of British soldiers that had been buried in a field.
Wow, yeah, there is a lot of history, and it's nice when you have some of those historical moments come alive. Really
Absolutely.
Connects you to the past.
Absolutely.
So
Hey, listen, Mike, if we're taking a day trip, what do we need to know about the weather?
Well, today it actually feels a little like October. Refreshing this morning. We've got a beautiful scene outside. Let's take a look at that weather forecast. So we start off this morning with temperatures in the 60s across most of the state. It feels very pleasant, very comfortable. Even down the shore points, only the low 70s. And a good reason for that is the dew point, or the temperature where the air is saturated, has dropped a little bit. It's not as sultry, it's not as muggy and humid as it has been in days past. Look at today's highs, only making it a few more degrees warmer from where we sit right now in northern New Jersey, from Wayne and Jersey City. Low 70s for you, maybe a touch warmer down along the shore points from Long Branch and Point Pleasant, where the warm front moves in. That will give you in central and southern New Jersey a slightly muggier feel, but it also brings back the chance of some showers again later today. Again, the big part of the rainfall and the part to take away here is that there will be some significant rains moving back in tomorrow. Look at that system. Those are the remnants of Tropical Storm Debbie as it moves up the coast. While we have the outer bands today, it's not going to be all that bad in terms of rainfall on our Thursday. Friday is where it gets pretty bad, especially later on at night going into the afternoon hours. So those are clouds and radar, the future cast here showing most of that heavy wet weather coming in later on. Good news is the rivers look to be at a decent level. A lot of these river levels have been watching closely, especially there along the Raritan. You see the river level there toward Edison and by Newark, all green, and that means good. So taking a look forward into tomorrow, the rainfall totals start to tick up once we get through tomorrow night. But look toward the left side of the screen over Pennsylvania, the reds and oranges. That's where the 3, the 4, the 5 inches of rainfall west of New Jersey. So the track of these remnants of Debbie actually spare New Jersey the worst of the rain, and I think most of the flooding will take place toward the western part of the state and especially into Pennsylvania. The futurecast showing that very nicely with a few scattered storms tonight. It's tomorrow afternoon. Look at all those shades of red and yellow moving in. They're brief across the state. They come into New Jersey later tomorrow evening, likely during and toward the tail end of the evening commute, and then move out just in time for a beautiful weekend. We've got gorgeous weather on the way. We'll tell you all about that weekend forecast coming up.
Looking forward to it, Mike. Yeah, the rain, not so great, but the cool weather is much appreciated.
Yeah.
All right, guys, coming up next, a car crash takes the life of a New Jersey mother.
And later, hear about a rug giveaway in Howell. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the New Jersey Morning Show. I'm Cara Falco along with Mike Favetta. A New Jersey man who killed a mother in a hit and run in 2023 has been sentenced to 11 years in prison.
Giovanni Gaines Little of Camden pled guilty to second-degree vehicular homicide and fleeing the scene immediately after the crash. Carrie Lynn Shea of East Windsor was found dead in her car at the crash at the intersection of Route 130 and Route 32.
It was discovered that Gaines Little had been driving with a suspended license. A Superior Court judge sentenced him to 5 years for vehicular homicide and another 6 for fleeing the scene. Just tragic story.
Yes.
11 years that's a lot of time.
Yep, and of course, there are many that will say, you took a life. Should it be more? I think the debate will always continue on that, especially, with, will more prison time cause recidivism, or will, the issue be kind of is the issue more psychological? As we've talked before, why put people in, the slammer for a long time if they're just going to come out and do it again? So it's almost it's an issue that I think is on the top of mind for many, especially during election season.
Yeah.
Going forward, of how these cases need to be handled, so it's fair and just for all.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mhm. Well, a very special initiative is coming to New Jersey. A local Carpets to Go in Howell is hosting an area rug giveaway for college students. Here to tell us more is owner Glenn Scher. Glenn, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
So, Glenn, tell us a little bit about this initiative. What inspired it?
So my two kids went to college, and it's one of the things that you kind of need for college or their apartment or whatnot. And I have a carpet and flooring store, and I just came up with the idea. And my company is more of a pay it forward type of company, which I believe more companies should do more for the community if possible. And we want to give a layer of comfort to these kids while they're away at school. I think it's important.
Hmm.
welcome to the New Jersey Morning Show. I'm Lisa Marie Falbo. In a testament to the boundless spirit of New Jersey entrepreneurs, the Kai Blanc Boutique Hotel in St. Lucia has just been named the leading boutique hotel in the Caribbean by the World Travel Awards. Owned and operated by a proud Parsippany family, this hotel represents a piece of Jersey hospitality transplanted into the heart of the Caribbean. Joining us now to discuss how her family went from Parsippany to paradise is Victoria Ritz. Victoria.
Could spin up, and the next storm's name would be Ernesto, next on the list. Beautiful beach weekend with a UV index of an 8, which is high. The surf, 1 to 2 feet, likely higher with those winds. And then the wave heights on the bay, awesome water temperature of 75 degrees, so pretty fantastic there. The 7-day forecast got some gorgeous weather this weekend, both days, Saturday and Sunday, amazing. And then we head into next week with dry weather, Cara, taking over. Can't wait for that.
It does look beautiful, Mike. I got family in from the Carolinas, and they made me laugh the other day because they said, the water's so cold, it's only 74 degrees. And I was like, that is bath water for us. Are you kidding me?
Yes, it is. I know. We become so used to our chilly seas.
So we are a hardy group up here. It's all relative. All right, guys, coming up, we've got some sweet news for you. There's a new bakery opening in Morristown. Stay with us. Welcome back to the New Jersey Morning Show. There is something sweet opening in Morristown. Owner and chef Wynn Kirschenbaum is here to tell us about their brand new bakery, Kirschenbaum Baking Co. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Wynn, this is very exciting. Cara and I, both Morristown area locals. So tell us about the bakery and how did you get started?
Amazing. Well, we actually started as an online cookie company that shipped cookies nationwide during the pandemic. My husband is also in the hospitality industry, and he's the operations, he's the brains. I call him. I'm the baker. And during the pandemic, as we all know, it was like such an uncertain time, and it was so scary. And we started this business to ship cookies, which allowed people to reconnect with their loved ones and to just like send joy. And thankfully, it took off, and it set the stage for what we have today in Westfield, which is our own brick and mortar. And we've been open for almost 2 years in Westfield. And now, the end of August, we're going to be opening our second location in Morristown.
I love it. It's an incredible story. And I love hearing about some of these successful COVID babies. So we started with cookies. What types of sweets can folks find at the shop?
So much, so much. Obviously, we have our signature cookies that started it all. But in addition to that, we have everything from croissants to morning pastries to cakes to pies to artisan breads to paninis to breakfast sandwiches. So basically, we're just covering you from breakfast, snack, and lunch.
Ooh.
The whole gamut.
That's really cool. So what would you say is your favorite item on the menu? I know it's hard because they're like children. You love them all equally. But if you were to pick one.
I think what I can still eat to this day, every day with a good cappuccino, is our butter croissant. We make everything in-house, old world style, handcrafted. We use really premium butter for our croissants. And so they're flaky, they're soft, and it just never gets old.
That's it. When the baker can continue to eat their own product,
you know
it's good. It's like I have not outdone myself just yet. So what is it? How did you get a start in pastry, and why was Morristown the next best spot for you to open up?
I started pastries. I've been in the industry for over 20 years. So when I say that out loud, yeah, that sounds like a lot of years. Guys, I started when I was 4 years old. But I started in Paris, went to culinary school in Paris, and it kind of just has evolved through the years. So many different kinds of establishments, from hotels and bakeries to small bistros to being executive pastry chef of a 2-star Michelin restaurant.
Wow.
So, I've had the pleasure of just being able to experience a lot of our industry. We started in Westfield because it's our hometown, and that's where my husband and I and our family live. But Morristown has always been on the radar because it's such a cool town. There's such a strong community. It's so lively. We just wanted to be a part of it so badly, and thank goodness it happened.
Yeah, and I feel like Morristown kind of needs, this. It's the perfect space. You go to these other small towns and they have like a little boutique pastry shop, but this is something that Morristown can really benefit from. So I think it's great that we could stop in because I've been watching the Olympics over the last 2 weeks, and seeing all the croissants being passed around, and I'm like, oh man, I miss those. So to get them right in your own backyard is so cool. Where can New Jerseyans go to learn more information?
They can go to our website, kbcbakery.com, or follow us on our social, our Instagram at Kirsch Baking Co. And we'll give updates. We're really close to opening. We've got a few last inspections, and then we're going to open.
Incredible stuff. It sounds delicious. Wynn Kirschenbaum of Kirschenbaum Baking Co. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Please have a croissant for us. It sounds delicious, and we're both hungry. Thanks again.
Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Yes, you will. Now that's what I want is a croissant and a cappuccino.
I'm going to put it out there. I have a feeling it's going to be a future morning show location.
You know what? I'm with you on that.
Just
We will
pile the croissants high and let me be.
Yes, absolutely. Mike, you
Well,
got the weather for us.
It is. We've got some beautiful brunch weather, or maybe a little dining al fresco with your croissant in hand. Let's take a look at the forecast. Some nice dry and pleasant air across New Jersey. Now, for the air quality, anytime that number is below 50, you're good. That's in the green zone. And the air quality numbers have been coming in nice and low, which is great news for those maybe wanting to get that early morning run or walk in. The air has just felt so thick and so heavy over the last few weeks, and part of that is due to pollutants, but the air quality forecast is even nice and dry today. Another check of those river levels, and they are green. Anytime we see those green dots, the rivers are in check, and there are no flooding or even action stages, which is some great news going forward. So we'll take that with some good news, even going into this upcoming weekend, as maybe you're traveling around the area. Still some residual delays early on this Thursday morning, 9:51 right there. You see from Newark and out toward JFK, even if you're traveling out of Philly, some lingering delays. Atlantic City, however, nice and green, and down toward the capital area, we are looking good. So this will change going into tomorrow. If you have Friday afternoon or Friday evening plans, while the winds will be picking up, there will also be heavy rains moving in for tomorrow. Likely saw some records broken with that rainfall the other day. Today's rainfall is already coming in at just 0.13 of an inch. Nowhere near the 100-degree high at Newark Airport set back in 2001. And it's just going to be right in the middle there, even below average with today's high climbing to 75 degrees. So a pleasant feel with refreshing air, and even going into tonight with that rain coming back for tomorrow, nice and dry this upcoming weekend. Quick check of that 7-day forecast for the beaches. We've got amazing weather coming up, especially as we head into the weekend. Beach locations looking fantastic. Great week to take one of those beach vacations down at the Jersey Shore.
Sounds like a plan, Mike. We might have to pack it up and take it on the road.
I think so. Some amazing weather, even some great dog walking weather. And speaking of, we've got some new guests. The Home for Good Dog Rescue, who recently joined us on the show, has shared that Harry, the dog that we met, has now found a permanent home.
So we featured Harry on our July 18th show, and at the time, he was still up for adoption. He has now been welcomed into a loving family.
Yeah, and it's really exciting news that the Home for the Good Dog Rescue team has done incredible work in rescuing and fostering dogs for adoption. They have a lot to celebrate this August, also known as Dogust, which celebrates and marks the shelter's birthday.
Next month on September 28th, they are hosting a barbecue where there will be food, entertainment, activities, and of course, adorable, adoptable dogs. You and I are both fur parents. You adopted your dog as well, didn't you?
I did. Yes, I did.
Yeah, I know folks are very particular about, getting it from a breeder, and they know that. Let me tell you what, you could find a purebred dog in a shelter. The shelters are full, and you will never, ever meet a more grateful soul than a dog that you adopted. She's the love of my life.
Yep, and always brings in that joy. Even during, the hard days when they get sick, you still love them even more.
Yes.
Want to give them the best. So in celebration of National Dog Day, it is coming up on August 26th. The Canine Cooperative is giving us all the best training tips. Here to tell us more are owners of Canine Behavior Experts and founders of the Mellow Method, Sabrina Jones and Jamie Wenzel. Welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
Guys, we're so excited to I already have questions in my mind. I'm so... Tell us a little bit about Canine Cooperative, though. What makes you different from other dog trainers?
Well, one of the big things that makes us different is that we really focus on education of the dog culture. So that's one of the things that we teach, not only just train dogs how to be obedient and understand commands like sit down, stay, come, all that good stuff, but we teach humans how to understand how their dogs think, feel, and communicate organically as it comes instinctively to a dog.
So we say dogs talk all the time, and the conflict between the humans and the dogs not being able to understand each other causes a lot of these issues. So we focus heavily on dog body language and things like that.
Yeah, and I was just going to ask about that, Sabrina. What are some of the most common dog issues dog owners face today? Is it, not waiting for that body language or for the command to be received?
Well, no, actually, what the biggest issue is dog stuff, right? So dogs act like dogs and humans act like humans. So there's a lot of conflict in the communication. This kind of manifests itself into things that people see, like reactivity, where dogs like lunge and bark on the end of leashes, separation anxiety,
Stealing stuff off your counters, nipping the kids, chasing the kids, destroying your house, things like that. The most common things that bother humans are dogs just doing dog stuff. And we need to teach dogs how to thrive in a human environment. We need to teach humans to understand that their dog isn't trying to be mean or spiteful. Their dog's just being a dog. And just by changing some of the ways they interact with them on a daily basis, they can solve those issues that they're having in their relationship with their dog.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've found personally, more than anything, a tired dog is a well-behaved dog, and 9 times out of 10, a nice walk will solve a lot of those problems.
Absolutely.
You know what, guys? Another question for you that I think is kind of near and dear at this moment to both Mike and I. Let's say you've got a dog and you're bringing a new baby home. Is there any tips for new parents to introduce dog and baby?
I think a lot of people try to create a relationship right out the bat and not realizing you have many, many years with this child and this dog. So a lot of people try to make it all happen on the first day, and that can be a lot of pressure on the dog, and the dog can be uncomfortable with the changes and things like that.
And one thing that I coach people to do is before baby comes, start living your life with your dog as if baby's there. So if you need to change some things where your dog sleeps at night, or they need more training on being quiet in the home or things like that, or you don't want the dog on the furniture when you're sitting with baby, feeding baby. Start practicing those things in the months heading up so that it's not an immediate switch of the lifestyle for your dog the day you bring baby home.
Or yourself.
That's a really good point. And even, looking forward and improving relationships, what are something people can do today? Today, right now, where I've got my dog sitting in the next room, to improve their relationship with their dog.
So we focus heavily on something that we created called the biorhythm, which is the way that you move through your day. And we actually, if you go to our website, we have podcasts, and there's a podcast on biorhythm. And it's basically the way that we work with dogs day to day, day in and day out. So it's a structure and a routine. It's not really based on time. It's based on the flow of how a dog would normally exist in the world, right? So like what they would naturally do from the moment that they got up to the moment that they went back to sleep.
So if you follow that in your everyday lifestyle, something as simple as changing up your routine and how you move through your day with your dog that makes sense instinctively to the dog can solve a lot of behavior issues. And it seems so simple, but it's just that foundational piece that we start all of our clients on that really makes the biggest difference right out the gate with their dog.
And the other thing I have to say is learn dog body language.
Yeah.
That is how your dog speaks. So if you are able to understand and hear your dog better, the communication in the relationship will be much improved.
Like all relationships, communication is key. All right, Sabrina Yurts and Jamie Wenzel, Canine Cooperative, thank you both so much for your information this morning. It is greatly appreciated. The website is canine-cooperative.com. You can find them Facebook and Instagram at Canine Cooperative. Ladies, thanks again. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that does it for us this morning for the New Jersey Morning Show.
Yeah, but stick around. We've got more New Jersey Morning Show coming up after this.